Hi, welcome back, readers and writers. With our sixth grade focus, we're going to move on to lesson 6 today. So as we do that, we always go back and take a look at our guiding questions that will help us stay focused and rooted in our topic as we go through these weeks of instruction. The first guiding question is, how do human actions affect the natural world? And so when you really think about that, how are the choices that we make every day affecting the world, the environment around us, the weather, our local communities? How does our action affect the natural world? Also, number 2, how do authors approach providing information and making an argument? And our third guiding question is, how does reading for research help me to form an opinion and make an argument? Because in the end, we want to have a lot of information to draw from in order to stake a claim and cite evidence. And these are things that we're going to do not just at the end of this week with our article on bee blight, but also throughout the weeks of this topic. So these guiding questions are a part of our daily routine. Today, we are going to be looking at our article Bee Blight, and you'll need from your distance learning packet lesson 6, along with your lesson 6 note catcher. You can see those on your screen right now. And also you will need a pencil. So go ahead and pause the video until you have these materials organized in front of you, and then we'll pick up from there. Go get the materials, push pause, and then we'll play again. All right, fantastic. Ready to jump into lesson 6. We have one learning target today, and it says, I can cite text-based evidence to support an analysis of an informational text. So the article that we are reading this week is regarded an informational text. It isn't a story. It is not a piece of literature. It is an article, and it has in it facts and an argument and some claims. There's a lot of evidence. So we're going to stay focused on our learning target that is citing text-based evidence from an informational text. We've got a lot of experience with that, and we're going to keep it going. So I would like you to read with a family member or caregiver the article Bee Blight again, and I'd like you to just pause the video for 10 minutes, reread the article. Don't forget my tip about reading with a pencil in your hand, because you could possibly underline things, circle some words that you might not know, that you want to come back to, or something that made a lot of sense to you. That's called annotating your text. So you could do that as you read, and that will help you stay engaged in your task right now. So pause the video for the next 10 minutes or so, and with a partner, reread the article, Bee Blight. I'll meet you back here. Fantastic, welcome back. So now we're going to take a look at some things to keep in our minds, to think about as we begin our actual work of the day. What makes you believe something that you have read is factual? What makes you believe something? And do you believe all things that you read in the same way? Why or why not? I want you to think about that voice in your head that even when you're reading some things, you're thinking, I don't know if this is true, or I don't know how accurate it is. So we really want to have a critical eye when we are taking a look at things that we are reading or watching, but in this case, reading. What makes you believe something that you've read, And do you believe all things that you read in the same way? Why or why not? So take a moment and think about those things. And then turn and talk with someone in your environment and try to keep in mind to remember the argument and claims that you've already identified from this article, Bee Blight. You can look back in your distance learning packet to your lesson 5 note catcher if you would like to. Today, we're going to look at the specific evidence that the author uses to support the claims. So, your conversation will include things like, what pieces of evidence does the author introduce in Bee Blight? And also, how do those pieces of evidence line up with the claims that you identified yesterday in lesson 5? You can pause this recording, have that conversation with someone, and then just come on back and push play when you're ready. All right, fantastic. We're going to actually get started on the writing component of today's lesson. I'm sure that you've noticed, and I will always mention again, that every day in our learning cycle, we will read a segment of an article, we will think about it, talk about it, and then we'll write about it. So we're in the right part of our action today. The right part as in you're going to do some writing. Using the lesson 6 note catcher from your distance learning packet, find a piece of specific evidence from the text that is used to support each of the claims that you identified in lesson 5. So if you go back to your lesson 5 note catcher, you'll see that you had 2 claims specifically from the article, things that the author stated. And today you want to move those claims over to this new note catcher, lesson 6, and then write down the supporting evidence that the author gave you, provided to the reader about those claims. So 2 claims with supporting evidence. I'd like you to pause the video for, I'd say 15 minutes, and then come back and push play so that we can finish this lesson. Go ahead and push pause now. Great. So when I was looking at the article and looking for the claims and then the evidence, I found claims on page 1 and also on page 2, things that the author was telling me. So for example, on page 2, I found a claim that I liked a lot, and it was in the middle of the page, and it says, modern growers have come to depend on domesticated honeybees. And they go on to talk about the why. Why do growers, also known as farmers, why do they depend on these honeybees? This was a fascinating article for me. They go on and they talk about supporting evidence about why farmers need bees. And I honestly just did not always understand that bees were taken to certain areas of the country to create pollination, and so that our crops are more fruitful and they make more produce and are healthier. So bees are really important. And this article and the author of it stakes several claims about bees and their health and what's affecting their health. There were claims about pesticides and how they might be affecting the bee population. So those are some things that you might have written down today. And you're going to use this work at the end with lesson 9 when we're done reading Be Blight. And you're going to be writing something even more significant using what you've done today. You should share your writing with someone and tell them why you chose to write what you did. And with your extra time today, just go ahead and read for your own pleasure for another 20 minutes. You could read with a member of the family or to yourself and just enjoy learning more. You could read more from your distance learning packet. Many articles are in there, or possibly in your own environment. And when you're done with that, if you go back to your article on Be Blight, and today start at the top of the article and read for 60 seconds and see if you get a little further than you did yesterday. And I'll see you back here real soon. All right, be safe, have fun, and make it a great day.